So let's talk about how cutting-edge technology is reshaping the customer experience. On this presentation, I'll be talking about three different things. I will talk about the increase in content complexity. I will talk a little bit about new content management platforms. But lastly, I also want to give you some concrete tips on how you can become the digital winner of tomorrow. But before talking about tomorrow, I just want to go back. So I've been working with e-commerce since 2008. Back then, it was all about just getting digital stores online. Getting the products up there, you could even get free traffic from Facebook, and it was quite easy to get going. Today, it is way more complex, and with it, content have also become more complex. And the primary drivers for that is really three different things. So firstly, we have an evolution of channels. We have more devices and screen sizes to support than ever. We have a big evolution happening around IoT. We are expanding into new markets. We want to capture the revenue, but with that, we're also exponentially growing the amount of content that we need to create and maintain. Content is getting into new channels, and if you ask me, I think in a few years' time, the majority of the sales that we see is not going to be on your own website anymore. It's going to be through third-party channels. And for each of those channels, you need to push both your product prices, but also your content as well. So that just means that the amount of content we need to create and maintain today have just grown exponentially. Secondly, if we talk about content, back in the days for me, content was just, we would like to have some blog articles or some kind of informational pages on our website. But today, we want to create good experiences. It needs to be inspirational. And content is not only just what goes on the website. It could be anything from FAQ to what you put into your newsletters, to what you put into your digital screens in your stores and whatnot, or whatever your messages you float into your IoT channels. So content is just way much more than that. We also need to be able to orchestrate across channels as well. And on top of this, we wanted to deliver highly personalized experiences, making sure that we tailor every experience, collecting different fragments of information, collecting and putting them together, and create one-to-one experiences with each of our users or customers. At the same time, we need to move faster. We need to be able to read data in the morning and launch new campaigns in the afternoon to respond to those changes or those behaviors in the market. And then when I talk to marketing teams, they are struggling. It's difficult for them to keep up. It's difficult for them to do anything outside the daily whirlwind. There's so many opportunities. Many of them, they feel that the quality could be better. They would like to have more time to actually read and understand data, so they, instead of focusing on just quantity, they can also focus on quality and the things that really drives up user engagement. But if we look at what is the perception about what is content really about, the perception is usually quite simple. We have some content on our website or in our newsletter. It's not very difficult to create. But the reality is very different. Especially if you're working across multiple systems and you work across multiple markets where you have multiple languages. Somebody needs to create the content, needs to gather all sets of different assets, adjust them, make the images in the right size, make sure that the images are right size to different devices if it's on the website, to make sure that it can scale down and it looks good on desktop and mobile. Somebody also needs to maintain that content. Make sure that it is constantly updated. If it's campaigns, that outdated campaigns that's not relevant anymore is removed and correct, SEO optimization is done. And this also becomes more complex when you have more users. Who updated what content? Where are we in the workflow and process with this campaign? And just talking about campaigns is not just a matter of putting the content up there. Usually you want to do it in good advance. You would like to have the possibility to review it, get it approved. And when the campaign is launched, all your content needs to be updated across many different channels. And I've heard countless of times people sitting up on midnight to make sure that information goes out, different sites is updated at the right time. But this is just examples on how content orchestration and content management is becoming more complex and more difficult. But there's a way where technology can help. Say hi to the next generation of content platforms. Platforms that is built on a true belief that content needs to be channel-less and it needs to be forever expandable. These platforms are built on a new set of principles. Firstly, They're headless, and what this means is that it sits agnostically as an application by itself. It integrates into what you have today, but also integrates into whatever channel you have against your customers. So that means that it could be your websites, brand sites, multi-language sites, it could be your customer service portal, newsletters, it could be displays that you have in store. The whole idea is that your content is agnostic and can be reused across your channels. And therefore, the second principle is also that the purpose is to centralize all the content that you have into one system, which will drive up efficiency for you because you're only working in one place. It will take content from multiple channels and make it available for you to enhance and curate and also to distribute into new channels. So just to give an example, what that could mean is that you would only have one place to maintain your terms and conditions. And with this, you can then publish new updates into all kind of languages or into all kind of places on your websites, mobile app, and so on, making it much easier for you to manage these updates. You can also relate this into campaigns, that you mainly maintain your campaigns in one place, and it will then distribute across your channels. Lastly, they're built for scale. They are built to support a growing business, but also supporting a business that might have new needs tomorrow that they're not aware of today. They also focus a lot on helping content teams to manage their content better. A lot of AI tools implemented to help and support when you write. It could also be specific tools around accessibility or SEO optimizations and so on. But the whole idea is like, how can we make it easier to produce and publish content regardless of the channel that we are working in? So there's so much marketing technology to choose out there. But if you look at these new modern content management platforms, I like to divide them into two groups. You have one where it's like agnostic content management focused platforms that you integrate into your existing architecture. They work by themselves, they integrate both inbound and outbound. But you also have on the other side, you have what is called digital experience platforms. You can also integrate into whatever you have, but they also have a principle of kind of having a large ecosystem from that vendor that they integrate into, focusing on being able to share data and being able to orchestrate across the full customer journey. Whatever is the right for you depends very much on where you are and also what is your maturity. So you can invest quite a lot into technologies, and I also see that the companies do that, but for them really to benefit from it and to get the return on investment, they also need to have both the need in the business, but also the organizational maturity to be able to take them on. So another perspective could be to look at what are the opportunities that you're missing out on. So looking at what are the channels that you're using today, and what are the challenges that you're potentially missing out on because you don't have the capacity or the capabilities to manage them. Look at what is the customer experience, and are you really delivering that customer experience that you believe that you should? Moving into your internal capabilities of what does our team look like? Do we have multiple members? Are those members even distributed across multiple teams across the world? And do we would like to enable these teams to collaborate better and have a platform that would facilitate that? It might also be that you have compliance rules that you need to comply with, that you're in an industry where you cannot just publish content before it has been approved by somebody. Or maybe you would like to be more data-driven and having a better understanding on what is the content that performs well and what is the content that does not perform at all, so you can optimize the content towards better performance. And of course, it also needs to understand or fit into your current architecture that you have as a business. All these are very relevant questions, and as you can see, I have them on the screen here. We have created a self-assessment tool that will just ask you some of these vital questions that will help you to understand whether there would be any return on investment or opportunity for you to tap into some of these new modern content management platforms. But one thing is for sure, if you don't have the need today, you will have the need soon, because the world around us is changing. The consumers and the users, how they behave and how they consume content and the type of content they need to consume is changing all the time. So you as a business needs to set yourself up to be agile and to be able to capture those opportunities when you see them, but also optimized constantly on how you work with your content. Else you will not be able to keep up, and you will have competitors that will be able to move faster than you. So everything these days is about putting yourself in a position where you're agile and where you can capture those opportunities. And with that, we're getting to the end of this presentation. My last advice to you is to find that self-assessment tool that I talked about earlier. You'll find it on our digital booth here in the portal. Thank you very much for listening in, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.